Welcome back to A Little Bit of Cheese, your bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast. I'm your host, Cody Depius. That is Sam Douglas, and we have a new friend here on the podcast. Sam, would you like to introduce everybody to your little amigo?
Oh my gosh, I got this nice little microphone, dude. It's kind of sweet. It looks good. It's clean. Mackie product. I'm super stoked about it. I'm going to be sounding like a voice of an angel from now on.
All right, no singing though. I've heard that before, and we don't need that on the cheese. For the few listeners that we do have, we would like to keep them here. So, yeah, Sam's got a mic. I got a mic. We're professional now. That's what's happening here on A Little Bit of Cheese. But professional side of it, we do got to talk our Brewers. We got to talk our Packers. Roster cuts were made today for Green Bay. We'll get into that. But first off, want to talk a little bit about the Brewers over the course of the past week. I mean, they got their 13-game win streak, a little bit of a skid since then. Bob Uecker Day was on Sunday. They kind of blew that game, but a lot of things going on in Brewerland. We'll start off first with the mini skid that they had. They dropped the series to Chicago, lost 3 out of the 5 against the Cubs. Is there any bit of a concern here for you, Sam, with this Brewers team? Because I saw a lot of people on social media that were like, of course we play like crap now. And I just want to hear your thoughts.
I'm not too concerned, really. That's the beauty of having a 9-game lead in your division, isn't it? that you can split a 5-game series, which should have been 4, 2-3, and you're sitting just fine. You can lose a couple games that you should have won. You can throw 1 or 2 away, which is accidental. It's baseball. There's baseball gods out there. We know that we've gotten a couple nice breaks this year. So the beauty of being 9 games up, absolutely cruising through August without arguably your best hitter, one of your best hitters in Jackson Chourio, doing this without him is fantastic. So no, I think that we lost a couple. We weren't going to continue winning games at an 85% clip for the rest of the year. So no cause for concern for me.
I want to elucidate that point. You went 26-4. I have never seen a team ever do that before in the history of Milwaukee baseball, and none of you have. Stop pretending like baseball doesn't let you lose games. They lost a couple of games. They literally dropped 1 game in their lead against Chicago in that Cubs series, and I saw people like throwing the team to the curb, and it just kind of shows me that a lot of us fans here are new to this season, I guess, when the Brewers just get so hot, some more people will tune in, and then they'll watch those Cubs games, and then they'll freak out when they lose a singular game of 162. And I find that just like, and it's not even just like the new fans, but like some fans I have in like Brewers chats that I like talk to about baseball. They're like, oh, of course we just play terrible in the most important series of the season. The most important series of the season was the previous 6 that you swept. Like they had such a lead. They still are 5.5 games up on the Cubs. And don't get me wrong, we've seen Chicago blow this exact same lead to Milwaukee back in 2018. That was a monumental collapse. You would hope that this team is a little bit better than that. I think that they are. They're deep in pitching, and you see guys continue to come up. And that kind of takes me into Sunday, which, yes, the result kind of sucked. Chad Patrick got the start on Bob Uecker Day. Patrick looked great. The Brewers looked like they should have cruised to a win there against San Francisco on Sunday. But really, the highlight of it all was the Bob Uecker celebration of life. What are a couple of highlights and things that stuck out for you throughout that ceremony hosted by Bob Costas in Milwaukee?
Awesome ceremony. Favorite moment of it was Robin Yount picking up the mic upside down.
Yep.
He had that planned out. He said Ueck showed him that. And you could tell that every single one of the guys that spoke was speaking from the gut. They were there. It wasn't scripted. It wasn't a formality. I thought when I first saw Costas, that might come off as a little bit, cheesy, but he did a great job hosting everybody there. You could tell was personally touched by Bob Uecker. And I think that's what matters. That's what he's all about. The personal relationship that he was able to have with every single person in that building. That message was sent loud and clear. So absolutely well done by the Brewers, by baseball, for making that ceremony special.
Yeah, Bob Uecker, one of those special people. Like I knew some people who just worked in Miller Park, like just selling ticket vouchers or whatever it might be. And Bob knew a lot of those guys by name, like the people just around the building, your custodians, everybody who worked under the Milwaukee Brewers umbrella, and probably just the people that were within like a 5 mile radius. There's a good chance that you knew Bob and Bob knew you, and he might have known you by first name and said hi and bye to you every time he saw you. Like he was one of those special individual people. And I think my favorite quote from the ceremony was actually also from Robin Yount. So picking up the mic upside down was how he began it, and how he ended it was by saying that Bob always told me he wasn't afraid of dying. He just didn't want to be there when it happened. And I thought that was perfect. Now, I watched the ceremony twice over the course of that day, watched it for the first time by myself, and then saw it with my in-laws later that night because they couldn't catch earlier in the day. And I don't know, it was good stuff. And maybe one story that I will add to it that I wish would be like more common knowledge and probably should be. But since I read Hank Aaron's autobiography, I got this one. So Hank was playing in Atlanta when Bob Uecker was the catcher for the Cardinals. This is before they had ever met. And Hank Aaron said, Bob Uecker stole a home run for me when he was behind the plate. Hank Aaron hit a home run, but Bob Uecker was able to convince the umpire that Hank stepped out of the batter's box, and they called him out. So Hank Aaron actually should have had 756 home runs, but because of Bob Uecker behind the plate, he only has 755. And Hank, of course, later goes on to say, I hated that guy's guts until I met him, and we were on the same team when they both played together. And it was just funny. It was actually when Hank was playing in Milwaukee and Bob was still in St. Louis. Then, of course, Bob came and played for the Braves a little bit afterwards. But then they became friends forever and ever after that. That's just one of my favorite ones. They're like, Bobby, I'm sure he was a stinker on the field. Like, as a catcher, could you imagine the things that he would say to guys in the box?
Oh, my gosh, that had to be a riot.
We hear the politically correct Bob Uecker, the microphone. There's always a filter there when you have a microphone in front of you. But Bob didn't have a microphone in front of him when he was a catcher behind the plate. So I'd love to hear more of those stories come out. But of course, those guys played a long, long time ago, and many of them are passing on now. But I thought it was a really great ceremony. I thought it stunk on Sunday, but I don't know. You can find any kind of poetic justice that it comes to it. Like, I just imagine Bob thinking, oh, you guys think you would actually win on Bob Uecker Day? Like that. I don't know.
I think it's kind of beautiful, isn't it? This baseball thing, this Bob Uecker celebration, it's not about winning baseball games, and it's almost a little bit, backhanded towards what Atanasio said, and he caught so much heat for it because, when Atanasio said it's not about winning, it's about having fun. That is, it felt a little bit awkward. You're not supposed to say that out loud. We all know that this is about cheering on the Brewers. It's not about winning World Series. It's about community. And I bet everybody left the ball game that day on a day where usually there's a lot of sour faces leaving that stadium the way we lost with the pitch off the plate, losing that
just
way.
A bit outside.
I bet people left that day, had a great time at the ballpark. I bet it was a beautiful Sunday, and they're going to be telling their families about that day for years, and the loss isn't going to get mentioned because that's not what it's about, isn't it? It's kind of poetic, considering how we started this season, flaming Atanasio, potentially rightfully so for saying something like that, and then the biggest day when all eyes are there and your all-star closer blows it and everybody's walking out smiling, having a great day at the ballpark.
Right. And to add to your point there with Atanasio's comment, I do have to be honest, they've been killing it promotionally this summer. You had your alumni home run derby. You have Bob Uecker Day. Both those are very just aware of everything that's going on within that ballpark. You have King Vaughn t-shirts that I think are coming out next week, which is wild. And great job by your marketing team. That is incredible. I don't know how much you give to Atanasio, but there's a lot of credit to be had there for whoever in the Milwaukee organization is making these decisions because they've been doing a really, really great job with all of that and kind of capped off on Sunday. Bob Uecker Day. Jacob Mizorowski will hit the mound again tonight. Like I said, the Brewers still 5.5 games up on Chicago. Just enjoy the season. Enjoy the rest of the regular season, and then you just hope that everybody gears up for the playoffs, because that's when this whole thing comes together and you might see some magic.
And don't ever pinch hit for Caleb Durbin in the ninth inning ever again. This guy is clutch. He's incredible. I get the lefty batter. I get that everybody has to be ready. I get the message that's being sent, but I don't ever want to see Caleb Durbin pinch hit for in the ninth inning. He's been a stud in the ninth inning all season long. That's my only gripe. It's got to get out there.
I get it. It's hard to yell at a manager that is easily going to win manager of the year this year. Yeah. So it's hard to nitpick that, but that one was weird. Caleb's had a lot of moments already in his young career. He's got whatever it takes to be in that blood to be ready for that moment. And Murphy wanted to go with Sigler there, and Sigler took a pitch inside and took a called strike 3 to end the game. Which, I mean, people want to rip on Sigler. I think he's a lot better than his numbers show. I think he puts together a very good at bat, but in that moment, at that time, Durbin already had a home run earlier that day too. I get it. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Murphy, maybe one of the best managers in baseball, still making a mistake, and we can always call him out for it. That's always fun as well. All right, we'll shift into Packers season as the preseason is officially over in Green Bay. I was actually out at the game on Sunday. That was a fun experience. I was actually front row, right behind at the 40-yard line, right behind Seattle's bench, and I do have to say it, terrible seats. Sam, you and I were in that same section before, but we were in, I think, 8 rows behind. Yeah. That was perfect. First row sucks. You can't see anything. Yeah. So just anybody going to Lambeau, if you think the front row at the 50-yard line is really cool, it probably would be behind the Green Bay sideline because you could see all the Packers. But when it's preseason and it's Seattle, don't sit front row right behind the sideline. So yeah, it was a really good time, but got to see some guys on their last leg in the NFL, and a good chunk of them were cut today. I have a list here, but Sam, I'll kind of give it to you. Do you have any surprises of who've been cut, or have you even seen the list yet? Because it's pretty recent.
Seeing the list, there's 3 names that I want to mention here. First is Sean Clifford will start in the quarterback room. I thought he was doing just fine as a backup. I thought that he had been in the system for a little bit, and it was good to have someone who had a backup who had just been there for a little bit. I think he was drafted the same year as Jordan Love, right?
I think so, yeah.
So that was a little bit shocking to me, but I guess, they just must have seen the tape. That's the first name that popped out to me. The second name was Mecole Hardman. I love this. I don't think he was ever going to make the roster. I think they brought in a vet to keep the young kids on their toes and said, you know what? If you're not going to work hard, we're going to get some guy who's done it in this league, who's been a part of winning teams for a while. So get your act together, because we will find other guys and you will be replaced. I don't think the plan was ever for him to make the team. I love that he showed up, probably taught the guys a couple things, and he's out the door because we don't want him stealing targets from Tucker Kraft and Matthew Golden anyways. And as far as a punt returner, could be electric, but we got to have somebody
horrible.
Else.
He was awful. He looked like a chicken with his head cut off. Terrible preseason for Mecole Hardman. It was bad.
Good. Love to hear it. And then the last one, I think, which is the name that everybody, kind of caught eye on, is Isaiah Simmons. He was brought in probably to be a linebacker on this team, and the tape must have just not been there at all.
Oh, it was bad. It was all of these moves actually very justified. Sean Clifford looked like he did not belong on a practice squad, really, when I saw him on Sunday. It was bad. And Mecole Hardman, muffed a punt. Can't do that in the preseason. Nope. Can't try to field one within the 5-yard line. That's just no-nos. And maybe he was told to do so, but did not look the part at all in the punt return game. And like you said, so much young talent, no need to have a Mecole Hardman. You already know what his ceiling is, and you don't need that on this roster. And Isaiah Simmons, he had no idea what his assignment was. I watched him a lot, even on tape, and then I got to see in person. He was in the wrong spot all the time. There were guys running wild and free The tackling looked very poor. I don't know what it was, but of course, this guy was a really high draft pick. There's
Hmm.
a reason he's been cut by 4 teams now in the first 6 years in the NFL. He's not an NFL player. He might have played the part in college and got everybody excited and was a first round draft pick, but he has shown time and time and time and time again that he doesn't belong in the NFL. And he kind of had his last chance here in Green Bay, and I don't think he's making any roster. This might be the end of the road for Isaiah Simmons. But you do always have to give Gutekunst and the guys credit for bringing a guy like that in. Like, low risk, high reward. They don't lose anything by that. And if you can get another quick linebacker in the room that can play NFL downs, then you hit a home run. That's just not what happened here. Kind of stinks for him. But yeah, 3 guys to be highlighted there. A couple other ones, Corey Ballantyne and Kalen King in that cornerback room, not making it. On the edge, Aaron Mosby got cut. Christian Welch, the Iola native, he was cut once again. I always like Christian Welch. I don't know if it's the hometown kid thing, but he was always a fringe guy. Last year had a really, really good preseason. I think actually had a fumble and had an interception. They still cut him, and I don't think they saw enough improvements this year to keep him on the roster. And Kadeem Telfort, who we actually are pretty familiar with, he was cut as well. That offensive line room is pretty thin. In all honesty, they better be hoping that injuries do not happen on that starting 5 because things could look a little bit rough. Jacob Monk, I don't know if he's going to be ready for NFL downs yet. He has looked pretty poor so far in the preseason. But the 3 guys
Like I think the coaching staff agrees with you there. I do like the signing, bringing in Kennard, the tackle from Philadelphia. Yeah. Traded a 6th-round pick for a big beefy boy. And offensive line help in the trenches is always good. He's a good player. He's going to make the roster. And Packers trading a 6th-round pick for your 7th offensive lineman, maybe 6th, 7th, maybe 8th offensive lineman. Right. You feel like it doesn't happen all the time, but more men in the trenches. I love that move.
Yeah, you need it. And Telfort, he's got 2 Super Bowl rings. He won one with Kansas City a couple years back as well before winning one this past year with Philadelphia. So, guy that's been there, he's been on very good teams. He knows how it works, and he's been able to stick around the league. So you always tip your hat to a guy like that. And Green Bay getting another guy like that in the room, I agree. I think you have to applaud that. I want to highlight 3 guys that made the team, and I'll start off with my first, and it's going to be What's Gouda for the week. And What's Gouda is Bo Melton making the roster as a cornerback. He knew that things were going to be the chances of him making the roster as a wide receiver were going to be pretty slim. He knew that at the end of last year, then probably went through the draft process and saw, they got 2 more guys in that room. There's not a chance for me to make it on the receiver end, so let's take our chance and try to make it as a cornerback. And really, I think he played the part. He looked good. He looked natural. We know how athletic he is. And he was able to do it in the preseason. I think he looks solid. I think he might be your 5th guy. I don't think I'm going to be all too scared when he's out there on the field. Like, not quite Ladarius Gunter levels, but
oh boy.
not to bring up any nightmares for any of us Packer fans out there. But that's What's Gouda. Hats off to you, Bo Melton. Bo also knows cornerback.
I see what you did there.
Hey, thank you. Anybody that knows the Bo Knows commercials from the 90s, if you do, you probably have some back pain, but if you don't, you should probably look it up anyway. A couple other guys that made the roster that I think are notable. Malik Heath, he's the last receiver in that room. Did have a drop in the preseason, but we know how athletic he is as well. He can always add some value. And Nazir Stackhouse, undrafted nose tackle, 340 pounds of beef, came in, had a great preseason. I'm excited to watch him up the middle. He could be your second coming. Not going to say he's going to be as good as, but he's your B.J. Raji. He is your big, fluffy boy in the middle that's going to run stuff and eat it all up.
How about a Grady Jackson cut on him? There's a big boy.
Yeah, that's he's too big. Was not even allowed to practice, which might have been a little bit contradictory. But yeah. So any other notables here from your roster makes or cuts here, Sam?
No, I'm glad Ballantyne is cut so I can get him and Valentine figured out finally.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you to Gutekunst too for making that move because we've had that discussion too many times on here. We don't Ballantyne, Carrington, Valentine, whatever it was. But now we know, and it's Corey Ballantyne. Just kidding. It's Carrington Valentine. Oh, yes. Carrington Valentine. That's what we have to deal with here on this roster. Yeah, they both came in the same year. So thank you to Goody for that. We can transition now to the X Factors for the season. And Sam, you actually have a pretty prepared list. So I'll give it to you. You feed it to me, and you'll get my reaction.
I love it. So I put together a list of the 10 swing players on this Packers team. If these guys step up, this Packers team can go from a young and hungry 11-6 team to a 15-2 type of powerhouse because we know that ceiling is here for the Packers. We've been we still are the youngest team in the league for the third year in a row. It's not that close either. And this team can really take a next step up. So I got 10 guys down that if the Packers are going to take that next step up, these guys are going to be involved. It is in order. Number 10, I have Jayden Reed. I've been passionate about letting this young receiving core grow and get better, and with time, it still has to happen. Jayden Reed, you got to be a dog out there, man. This receiving core has to get better, and a lot of it is going to run through you. Yeah, we're going to do a lot through Matthew Golden. Jayden Reed is my number 10 swing player for the Packers this year.
Yeah, Reed, we know he has all the tools. It's just putting the things together and really having the offense work through him as well. Last year, you could maybe put a little bit of it on the floor, maybe put a little bit of it on Jordan Love, but really when it came down to it, Jayden Reed dropped a lot of passes last year. If he can really tighten that up, he's going to get a lot more looks. And if he gets that ball in his hands and keeps it in his hands, he can be an electric player on offense. He can be one of those 2 or 3 guys that you run everything through and just get down the field and push it.
He's just got to put it together. Completely agree. Number 9, Rick Bisaccia. I know I said players. These are 10 Packers. Rick Bisaccia. Hey, this is the first year that the kickoff, if you botch it or whatever, you kick it in the end zone, it's dropped on the 35. That is 2 first downs away. That is 30 yards away, 3 first downs away from being in field goal territory. This special teams unit needs to be good. Rick Bisaccia, you were brought in to swing some games for us. Go win us a game this year. Special teams can step it up, be an X factor. If Bisaccia can step it up, this Packers can touch into a new level. When we won the Super Bowl, our punter was on fire. J.K. Scott was a monster reason for the Packers Super Bowl run. It felt like everything was within the 10-yard line. Now, I know Bisaccia isn't punting it, but that special teams unit, that can be a game breaker.
It's not J.K. Scott.
No,
who's
it wasn't.
The punter? Danny Whelan. And Bob Harlan, the broadcaster for Packers preseason games, actually, no, I think it was John Kuhn said it. Kuhn said that Danny Whelan might be the best player at his position on this entire roster, which was, a wild statement, but Danny Whelan is awesome. We've ripped a lot on this show about Rick Bisaccia. Just that unit needs to be better. I think they need to figure out what they're doing return-wise. We saw the McCole Hardman experiment did not work. We'll see if Jayden Reed returns kicks this year. But in all honesty, I think Keyshawn Nixon should. I think that his most value is going to be there. Yes, he adds a lot as a corner as well, but I don't think he adds enough as a corner to just completely take him out of the return role because that's where he's best. That's where he's most effective on this team. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope he is that much better of a corner and that we can have that discussion later. But at this point, I think Nixon should be the guy. We'll see what Bisaccia does, though.
We're going to talk about Keyshawn Nixon in just a little bit, too. Wink, wink. My number 8 swing player for the Packers this year is Brandon McManus. The energy shift that happened for this Packers team when we finally got a kicker was incredible. We'd been searching for a quality, consistent kicker for quite some time since Crosby left. Finally found one. Being able to play like the Brewers and take your medicine, get your points when you can. If that's a 56-yarder that you feel good about, that's a game changer for this Packers team. Brandon McManus, stay hot, kid.
Yeah, he was great last year. Complete season changer when he came in because there were so many concerns before he got there. So bad situation turned into a good one for McManus, and it really turned into a great one for Green Bay. What a player that they picked up last year. And you just
Mhm.
hope it continues. And through the preseason, it really looked like it's going to. He's one of the probably top 10 kickers in the league.
I love it, and he's one of us. Xavier McKinney is my number 7 player. It is no secret that our cornerbacks are maybe the weakest position group on this team. This defensive backfield wants to have success against really good teams. Xavier McKinney, you're going to need to have your house in order, brother. There's probably Quay might be calling the plays back here, but our dog on defense, Edrin Cooper might get really good. Our dog is Xavier McKinney. He is the man back there. He's the safety keeping everything under control. He needs to have another elite season if this Packers defense wants to be a top 10 defense in the league.
Yeah, he's a real leader. He's going to be the guy on that defense. I don't expect for him to take any step back. And if he has another year like he did last year, you're going to see a lot of great things once again from that Packers D.
And number 6, Edrin Cooper. We've been excited for him to take this step up if he can, and if we have a real animal of a linebacker. We know our cornerbacks are a little weak. Our defensive line could use a little bit of help. We have really good safeties. This linebacking core, we talked all season long last year about marrying the defensive line to the defensive backfield. And if Coop can do that, man, that is a step for this Packers defense to take.
He was a complete game changer when on the field last year. That defense looked like two different teams with and without Edrin Cooper. I only expect him to take steps forward. He's been working a lot on his coverage so far in the offseason. He's looked great so far in camp. I think the roof is the ceiling here for Edrin Cooper. He's that talented. I think he's a Pro Bowl guy. I expect him to make it this year. Multiple time NFC Defensive Player of the Weeks last year, and I think he only played 10 weeks. He's that good. He is a true game wrecker. Just needs to stay on the field.
If him and Quay can both step up, I don't have Quay on this list, but if those two can put together something in the middle of our defense, that's how, that's going to be huge for us. Number 5. Not necessarily a step up that we need, but having a top 5 running back in the league sure helps. Josh Jacobs, you are on this list. If this Packers team wants to be really, really good, having a top 5 running back in the league is going to be awesome. Turn those 2-yard games into 7-yard games all game long. Stack up the line with the big boys when you're on, first and goal, and take 3 cuts at it. Know you're going to get in the end zone. Josh Jacobs, you changed the game. The line of scrimmage moves because of you. If we want the passing game to open up, it is because Josh Jacobs is a feared running back in this league.
That's right. And you might not like it, Sam, but I do. This offense, I think, is going to be a run-first offense. They showed that by the way they went out and got Aaron Banks out of free agency. A lot of people thought that they overpaid, but they got a big boy there. They got a lot of weight to go help grade it. And then, of course, in the second round, they pick up Anthony Belton, another big fella, athletic, has good feet. We'll see how much he gets on the field, but they're kind of alluding to what they want to do with this offense. They want to get graders on that line, and they want that line of scrimmage to move, give a little bit of extra space for Jacobs, let him eat. I think the offense it's going to go through him. Everything is going to play off of what Jacobs can do. He's going to be that guy on offense.
My number 4 player that if he steps up this year, the Packers can reach a new ceiling is our former first round pick, Lucas Van Ness.
Yeah.
For better or worse, he's our starting edge next to Rashawn Gary. And I got a note written down. I'm just going to read this. Let me tell you how an offensive line is currently going to handle a Packers pass rush. Assuming there's 5 linemen and a tight end blocking a standard 4-man rush from the Packers. You're going to have a tackle block Lucas Van Ness. The guard center guard easily handle Wyatt and Clark. Now Rashawn Gary getting double teamed by the tight end and tackle, probably getting chipped by the running back too. And you get Lucas Van Ness just getting handled by one tackle over. That can't happen. You need to be changing plays if you're getting single blocked from, just a tight end. You can't get blocked from a tight end. You need to get pressure. It's going to take pressure off of Rashawn Gary, whose numbers dipped last year because he didn't have help on the other side. This is why when Trey Hendrickson puts together an incredible season, when Micah Parsons puts together an incredible season, it's even more so because they're getting doubled and tripled team every single snap.
Yeah.
Rashawn Gary isn't Micah Parsons. He isn't a Myles Garrett. But he can put up those numbers if he's not getting triple teamed every single play. Lucas Van Ness needs to get some pressure from one side if this defensive line wants to have any sort of push. Lucas Van Ness, if you step up, this defense can be something serious.
Yeah, I think so. We've heard a lot of great things out of camp. They say he looks so much more polished, so much more refined. Hey, it took Rashawn Gary 3 years to look like he belonged on an NFL field as well. It looks like a similar case here for Van Ness. But yeah, if he can do it, you change and solve a lot of the problems, not only with the pass rush, but the pass rush helping what you lack in cornerback as well. He could make a huge difference for everybody on that defense.
We're getting to top 3 territory here. Number 3, I alluded to him earlier, Keyshawn Nixon. Okay, bud, you're going to be covering at times this year Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors, A.J. Brown, and you are a Keyshawn Nixon return specialist. You are going to have your chances to change some games. Not asking you to hold these guys to Darrelle Revis type of numbers. Go pick some balls. Do your job. You're going to have your chances at these number 1 wide receivers, and just hold on for us, baby. Hold on.
Hey, 2 years ago, if you would have told me that Keyshawn Nixon would be in discussion for your cornerback 1, I would be concerned. And I can say today, I'm a little bit concerned. A lot rides on what Keyshawn Nixon can do this year. He made a lot of improvements. He made a lot of strides last year. He is a serviceable cornerback. If he takes the next step, then I'll give him his flowers. But I have a little bit to see before I can really trust him against those top guys, because I don't know if I've seen that quite yet.
He's going to have his chances, whether we're excited for him or not. We're going to see that one-on-one at the bottom with CeeDee Lamb and just praying for My number 2 player, if he steps up this year, Packers can change. It's a little bit more about the offense than him in general. Luke Musgraves. You said we're going to be running the ball a lot. I really look forward to this 2 tight end, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers on the outside. If Musgraves can be a threat in this passing game, that changes everything for this offense. We know about the 4, 5, 6 wide receivers that can catch the ball. We know what Tucker Kraft can get schemed open for. What do you do when your backup tight end is even faster than a top 10 tight end in the league on the other side of him? Who's covering who? He's a mismatch nightmare. And if he's getting extra love, then Tucker Kraft is going to be open, and it just can open up this offense so much. I'm really excited for Luke Musgraves to be stepping up.
I am too. I've actually had to defend Luke Musgrave in the bar more times than I'd like to admit, but that has happened. A lot of people were telling me he should have been cut by now, which I just kind of had to end that conversation there, showing your intelligence or maybe lack thereof for statements like that. But yeah, I'm excited. It's hard for me to get excited for Luke Musgraves because we knew going into his career that he had injury concerns, in the first 2 years have been the exact same story. If things can change, this offense becomes multidimensional. If you can go to either tight end, be comfortable, and have both of them be yards after catch playmakers, that the sky's the limit. Absolutely. But until I see him have a healthy season, I don't know what to expect. He's the Garrett Mitchell of this team.
Sure. Yeah, I love that. He can open up a lot of things. I'm excited to see scheme, and if LaFleur has some pieces, he's going to use them.
Right.
The number 1 player on this Packers that if he takes a step this year, Packers can go into a dominant force. It's the chalk answer. It's Jordan Love. Yep. No more excuses for Jordan Love. You got a really good offensive line. You got wide receivers that are no longer young, and you got a first-round talent there. You got 2 tight ends that are really good, and an all-pro running back right behind you. You're not young anymore. It's time to step up Jordan Love. If he's going to be a top 5, 6, 7 quarterback in this league, it's time to see it this year. If there's a little bit of that Rodgers Favre magic, we're not asking you to be a Mount Rushmore quarterback in football history type of guy, but step up. Like, if Jordan Love is the guy, if he steps up, he's the quarterback, he captains the ship. It's the most important position in all of sports. If this team is going to be winning, It's Jordan Love taking that next step, running the ball a little bit more. No more excuses for the kid.
I know I said that this offense is going to run through Josh Jacobs and that's where everything is going to start. I am correct, but this team winning 13 or 14 football games this year is going to depend on Jordan Love. This team winning playoff games this year is going to depend on Jordan Love. This, like you said, this is pull up your big boy pants time. No more excuses. The team is there. The roster is there. You've had the experience. Don't get hurt. I know last year that was a big excuse that he could have used all year, which I can tell you throughout the preseason right now, we know that his legs are under him. He can scramble a little bit more, and there's going to be a lot more to unload there rolling outside of the pocket. This is the year to go for Jordan Love. We're going to get a lot of answers as to whether this contract is really deserved by him or not, and it all just rides on what he can do with that arm.
That's my list. That's the 10 players that can swing this Packers season.
That was a heck of a list, Sam. Great work on that. I don't think I have anything to add. I think you really hit the nail on the head there. So we got a little bit of time for a couple of cheese graters. I'll start it off with you. What is your starting rotation for the Milwaukee Brewers in the playoffs? Because I know a lot of things have changed these last couple of weeks.
It's got to be Freddie. You want 6 innings out of Freddie in the first game. The next one, you want Woodruff to go 5 or 6. But, we saw yesterday, if Woody starts falling, don't let the wheels fall off any of these guys. Trust the bullpen.
Yep.
And I think that's a different story than I would have said earlier in the season. And then get Miz in there and have an arm ready. Have an arm ready whenever Miz is in the game. Pull him quick. Get Miz out of there quick. And maybe that's a case that we have Miz be second in the rotation because we might be asking for a little bit more bullpen help. And you want to know what bullpen you have going into Jacob Mizorowski game. Now he is going to have a couple more opportunities to right the ship. He did just come back after taking a little bit of time off. But yeah, those are my 3 horses right there. And then Priester, get Priester a game too. He's deserved it unless it's a do or die game, then I think you roll Freddie back out there. I don't care if he's on 2 days rest.
I agree. I think you could change any of these. I don't think there's much of a wrong answer because I think everybody could do it. I think maybe you piggyback Mizorowski with Quintana, be ready to go because you have the super quick right arm, and then you have the big, slow lefty curveball from the old Wiley vet. So that's just an idea for me.
I like that. I like that a lot. And Koenig is not in my rotation. I tell you that much. It is Jared Koenig is not making an appearance.
No, he probably will, but he shouldn't.
I'll let Anderson have an inning. He's grown on me a little bit. I'll give him an if we're up to.
Yeah. You got guys, yeah.
I got a couple of over-unders for you. Jordan Love, 4,200 yards passing, over-under.
Got to go over. Got to say over.
Josh Jacobs, 1,200 yards rushing.
Also going over. I think there's just more on that line this year. I think they could grade it.
Big year. Tucker Kraft, 1,000 yards receiving.
Okay. And now I got to start going under a little bit. I can't have everybody go crazy. I don't know. Maybe Love I'll go lower and Kraft I'll go higher. That'll make me feel better about that.
Sure.
But I think this could be a top 5 offense in the NFL. You could see things click. I want to see that rhythm where this team gets to go. We've seen it before out of Love, but I want to see it for a full year this year. Well, we'll be back next week. We'll get everybody all prepped for the NFL season on the way. I'm Cody. That's Sam. This is another edition of A Little Bit of Cheese, your bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast.